Alright, so I want to talk about another pro-Roman Reigns article here on Bleacher Report. I did this a few months ago and I want to do it again. So this article is titled, Roman Reigns is slowly winning over the WWE Universe. If you want to follow along, like I said, just look it up on Bleacher Report, or I will also try to remember to put the link in the description below. It's written by the Dr. Chris Mueller. That's the name of the guy who wrote it. A very stupid nickname, by the way, the Doctor. Whatever. I mean, if that makes him feel more like a man, then hey, go for it, man. But alright, let's get started here. Reigns has been the most polarizing superstar for the past few years, but the tide seemed to be shifting for him during the build to SummerSlam. Make no mistake about it, he's not the popular babyface management has tried to make him into for the past few years, but he is no longer being booed out of every arena he enters. Raw even saw the Universe chant, "We want Roman," during the final segment here, so let's break that down here. So the argument, oh, he's not getting totally booed now, so it's all good, right? I mean, this has happened multiple times where Reigns has even gotten cheered for a brief moment here or there, but then the Universe goes right back to booing him. This by no means mean he should be pushed, and I think a big reason of why he's getting maybe not completely booed out of the building anymore is because nobody really likes Brock Lesnar anymore. Nobody likes the fact that he's been the champion for a year and a half and has hardly showed up. So maybe that's why Reigns is getting a few more cheers. Like, even myself, I'd want Roman Reigns to win because that means at least the belt's going to be featured on Raw every week instead of it never being there. So whether WWE's doing that on purpose or not, I think that's a big reason why Reigns is getting a few more cheers now. It's not that Reigns is any better, but that Brock Lesnar is not really that likable anymore. So let's continue. The funny thing is, Reigns didn't get that much hate until WWE started giving him a singles push. When he first debuted on the main roster with the Shield, he quickly became the most popular member of the group, especially once the trio turned face. I don't think that's true. That he became the most popular member of the group. I think they were all, the Shield was like equally among everybody, but like I don't think he stood out or anything like that. I don't think people were saying that he was going to be like this great wrestler that's going to be way better than Rollins or Ambrose. I know myself, I was saying he wasn't going to be that great back in the day, and I turned out to be correct about that. So the reason why he wasn't getting his booed when he was a member of the Shield is because he only served one specific role, so his weaknesses were more covered up. I mean, when you're in a group of 3 people, each person only has to do a third of the work, so you could play to each other's strengths. Like, Reigns didn't have to talk really because you had 2 other guys that could cut the promos, and Reigns only had to be like the powerhouse, and so that's why he didn't get booed as much. But when he became a single star, his weaknesses were more exposed. So that's why people started booing him more, and they also pushed him, and it was just a disaster. The Lunatic Fringe and the Architect were also popular with the crowd, but whenever someone would tag Reigns into a match, the universe would explode. Then the Shield broke up, all 3 men went solo. Reigns stayed popular, but once it became clear WWE wanted to make him into a top star, people began booing him. This is the argument I hear. Oh, well, he's getting booed because WWE's pushing him and the fans like to boo WWE's top stars. Again, that is such a stupid argument. That's so disprovable, because look at Daniel Bryan, look at CM Punk, look at Steve Austin, look at The Rock. These are all stars, past and present, that were heavily pushed by WWE, yet they got unanimous cheers. So the argument that, oh, they're only booing him because he's a top star is totally stupid. People are booing him because they don't think he should be a top star. Some fans blindly boo him because it's the cool thing to do. Again, how does this guy know what's inside the minds of fans? Like, what are you, a fucking hypnotist? What are you, like a psychic? Like, how do you know why people boo him? What are you, inside my mind? You don't know why people boo somebody. But those who offer actual reasons for disliking Reigns usually list 1 to 3 reasons. His promos are boring, he's not a good wrestler, people are tired of Reigns being shoved down their throat. And yeah, I think a lot of people do say that, and and I agree with all three of those things. So let's continue. His promos were definitely a weak point during his ascension, but his mic work has improved significantly over the years, especially in situations where you can tell he is speaking his mind and not repeating words someone else wrote for him. I think that's a universal truth, by the way, that wrestlers cut better promos when they're not scripted. So I think it's obvious his promo skills were weak. But usually when they let wrestlers do what they want and don't micromanage all their promos, they usually cut better promos. So, is he getting better at his mic skills? I really don't know because I haven't watched in a year, but all I know is that when I did watch, his mic skills weren't that good. I mean, I certainly hope he's getting better. I don't root for the continually shittiness of this product. I want him to get better so then people have a better product to watch. And that could be a big reason why his promos suck, is because WWE micromanages everything. I mean, we definitely see people who have the ability to cut good promos not cut good promos because WWE scripts everything. But it was clear that his mic skills weren't that good, and most people agreed with that. When it comes to his ability in the ring, the way fans think and the way other wrestlers think are completely different. Lillian Garcia recently sat down with Shinsuke Nakamura and Becky Lynch at Ace Comic-Con for an interview. The U.S. champion listed Reigns as someone he would love to face in the future. Yeah, this is another argument. Well, all these top WWE stars are saying Reigns is a great wrestler, guys, so you fans don't know what you're talking about. All these WWE wrestlers have to say Reigns is great, or else they're going to get their asses fired. You can't go on a fucking interview and say, oh, I hate Roman Reigns. You got to defend your company. That's part of working for a company. You have to be a yes man. That doesn't mean they really think that. And when he says here, the way fans think and the way other wrestlers think are completely different. I don't give a shit what the wrestlers think. It's about what the fans think, because the fans are the one paying the money, and they're the ones that are watching. So I don't care if fucking Shinsuke Nakamura thinks Roman Reigns is a great wrestler. It doesn't mean he shouldn't be pushed. It matters what the universe thinks. So let's continue. When the crowd began to boo, Nakamura shut them down by saying everyone wants to boo him, but all the wrestlers say Roman is a good wrestler. Of course they do, because that's what they got to say to keep their jobs. And a lot of them may think that. That's fine. I don't give a shit. But it's about what the fans think. It's not about what the wrestlers think. Jeez. An endorsement from someone as respected as Nakamura may force a few people to reevaluate why they think Reigns isn't talented. Again, I don't give a shit what these wrestlers think. It's about my fucking opinion. Don't let somebody else's opinion influence your opinion. Don't let the ratings influence your opinion. What you think is your opinion, and you should not let other people's opinion influence yours. Plenty of his matches get chants of "This is awesome" from the live crowd. I don't know about that. His opponents can't tear the house down by themselves, so even the people who hate him occasionally recognize his talents. The argument about Reigns being shoved down our throats by management is the only one with any merit, but it's not as if we don't see the same thing with other superstars. Braun Strowman has been given more standout moments in recent months than anyone else on the roster. AJ Styles has been WWE Champion since last November and wins almost every match he wrestles. Are they being shoved down our throats too? Yes, they are, but they're good. They get cheers. They wrestle good matches. And to say Braun Strowman gets shoved down our throats as much as Roman Reigns is not true, because Braun Strowman hasn't been here as long as Roman Reigns has, so that's number one. And I don't even think he's been champion. I'm like 99% sure he's never been champion before. He hasn't main evented WrestleMania 4 years in a row, so that's not a legitimate argument. AJ Styles is a great wrestler, so that's not a legitimate argument. Despite all the negativity, Reigns has retained a loyal following, especially among women and children. Yeah, of course. The PG crowd loves him. He gets better reactions at house shows than he does at televised events, but we are beginning to hear more cheers when he comes out on Raw than we did at this time last year. Well, that's really nothing to be impressed about, because he was getting complete boos like a year ago when I watched. So there's really nowhere where to go except up from him. And like I said, just because you're getting a few cheers, Like we've seen this before where some of the crowd does cheer him periodically, but then it goes right back to boos. So I'm not that impressed about it. Your top babyface should be getting a universal cheer, and I think he's way far away from getting a universal cheer. So then he puts down a few tweets here. So let's go through these tweets. Why not have a little bit of fun? So somebody tweets Roman Reigns. Your fans are crazy. No wonder you don't mind getting booed if the alternative is getting cheered by that bunch. And Reigns replies, no, you just said something stupid and they called you out on it. My fans are diverse and extremely supportive. I can't say the same for the small group of vocal men who decide to hate on me when they can just support their favorites. Either way, enjoy this one day of relevance. What does he mean, the small group of vocal men who decide to hate on me? It's a big group. I mean, do you hear the crowd not cheering you? Do you see the millions of people who are not tuning into Raw anymore? I mean, I just heard on Raw, they had their lowest viewership ever. Another guy tweets out, y'all still hate on Roman Reigns in 2018? Grow up. People went from wearing John Cena shirts to hating John Cena to look cool. People straight up hate Roman Reigns to be cool. Who are you trying to look cool for? Again, here's people trying to guess the motives of people who dislike Roman Reigns. People dislike Roman Reigns because he's not a good wrestler. They don't dislike him for alternative motives. Again, how do you know why people dislike him? And then he finishes the article with a few paragraphs. He has put together enough show-stealing performances to begin earning back some of the fans who abandoned him after the Shield broke up. Again, I didn't really see any of those, but okay. Keep thinking that. And his mic work continues to get better as time goes on. The city he is in plays a big part in what kind of reaction he gets these days, but more and more fans are slowly starting to get back on the big dog's bandwagon. With any luck, WWE will do more to make everyone hate Lesnar enough to give Reigns a good reaction when he inevitably wins the title at SummerSlam. That's what I made in the point I made in the beginning of the article, is that probably the only reason he's getting some cheers right now is because nobody likes Brock Lesnar and him having the belt and being a part-timer for a year and a half. So let's not get too excited about him getting a few more cheers now, guys. It doesn't really mean that much. And when he wins the belt, he'll probably go back right to getting booed, because we've seen this before where he wins the belt and there's a few people who are happy, but then once people realize how much he sucks and he has a belt, people go right back to booing him. So just to be clear though, I hope he gets better. I want him to get better. And I think he has gotten better since a few years ago, even on the mic. But that's not that much better. He's probably gotten a little better, and that's good. I want him to get better because I want the product to be better. But the fact of the matter is, he's not